Hello, how are you doing, Yikes? How's San Francisco treating you?
Fucking. Well, I have gotten lost yet another contract, so I am back on the hunt. But it's a good
You
place.
you you got something going?
Well, no, I had something going when I came down here, and then now I no longer have something going, so now I have to find a new something.
Damn. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean it's a good place to be hunting, so hopefully it'll all work out. But it's fucking annoying that this keeps happening. It's like my third one in a row. I don't know. I feel like I must be like missing something or just like super bad at everything. But no, everybody's like, no, no, you're fine. Like it's just we are at a different stage with our project or whatever. I'm like, okay, but like, how does this like please be mean and just tell me? But I don't know.
Do do we have what's lined up today? I like completely zoned out.
Hmm.
Does anybody know?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's
There's
see.
no schedule, it seems, right?
Let's see. AI in action bot. Hey, what's the what's
Yeah, just ask the AI how it goes.
next, let's see, Friday, June 20th. Okay.
That's next week, right?
What about June 13th? Hmm. Is there a keyword I need to use here? What are the speakers for June 13th? Okay, let's see. Either AI in Action Bot is like a being a dum-dum, or we actually don't have anybody for this week because we have the RJ. Let's see. Let's ping him and see. Okay. RJ, what up? Hey, do you want to are you doing genomics next week?
I'm happy to YOLO something for today if no one else has something.
Right. That could be the move. I don't
I
know.
was about to propose like comparing AMP and Cloud Code. It would be fun just to have some sort of opinions on those things.
I
I know that you like AMP, Mano.
Yeah, I
So
can definitely show some AMP stuff also if that's something that people are interested in.
I have I don't know. I have lots of plans for Claude Code, but I haven't executed a ton of them. Right now, I'm using it pretty vanilla, but
Yeah, I've barely used Claude Code, so I can't really give any kind of comparison to it. Also, open code looks really interesting.
yeah, agreed.
Um, but I can totally just vibe code something with AMP code. I've got like a ton of stuff to do.
Yeah, let me I'll see if I can well why yeah, let's see if we can put it through.
But yeah, if someone has something more interesting, then should do that.
I was gonna say we can dueling banjos and you can do amp and I'll do Claude Code. We can
All right,
see what happens.
should we do the same task?
Yeah, yeah, or similar, or yeah. What do you got on your plate? Let me see if there's anything that's looks sounds yummy.
Um, I mean, I have my own open source stuff. Uh, I don't know. You come up with something. Like all my stuff is a little bit weird and
All right,
specialized.
let me check what I've got. Let's see. So the most recent thing that I was doing, quit linear here and reopen it, I think. Most recent thing I was doing, I was on chai.new. Have you guys heard of that one?
I haven't, no.
It is like it's like bolt.new or scout.new or whatever, except it's for agents. So you vibe code your agent and that's its gimmick kind of thing. Um, Force quit this, and I was the agent that I was working on was my eternal babysitter side project. So I could go back and take a look at that. Um, or
What's the babysitter thing?
the babysitter thing is hey, here is all of my context about everything I do all the time. Here, agent, you watch this and you just like make me stuff that you think I will need, or that sounds useful. Is kind of the general vibe of the thing. Um, so it's like an agent that makes agents that is like a little like, here's a surprise agent that's going to help you with the thing that you're going to do next because I looked at your calendar kind of thing. Let's see. Okay, and then the other thing that I need to do is I was going to do Eliza, because I need to make a couple of agents for my Discord server because I want a few of them to help me run events. So I guess they're both agent related projects. So we could pick a different, I don't know, if you have a different thing that's not agent related and we don't want to do agents, that would also work. But the two, I think, main things I have on my list are those. But let me pull up my linear and double check and make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, yeah, I have that in like the landing page for my Discord. So, which of these sounds good? Babysitter, landing page, or event spot? You're muted if you unless you were trying to be muted.
What was the babysitter stuff?
Yeah, let me pull up my chai and I'll just share the thing because it's got a better description of the requirements than I do here. Okay, so if I go to chai.new and then I can do, let's see, this guy. You can go here and then how are we going to play this? I think we'll share this window up at the top. Let's do a full screen here. And then let's do an OB. Wait, let's see. How do we want to do this? Can we do we're gonna do, how do you screen share in this machine? I guess we could just do the virtual cam, I think. I think maybe we'll do that. Get rid of that. And then let's go to window. Let's go to properties. We're gonna do display. We're gonna do this one, I think. Yeah. Do that. Do this. Okay, and then if I start the virtual camera and then I just do this. Okay. System settings. Zoom can use it. Quit and reopen. Okay, I have to quit and reopen.
Yeah, I'm happy to code something if Yikes, if you need a minute. It's the magic of not preparing.
Right. Okay, let's see. Let's change it off the government name here. Let's do. Okay, so virtual camera should be working, shouldn't it?
I do have something that might be quite interesting even for for you using Claude Code,
Mhm.
which I could show. I don't know. Which is managing workspaces, like managing work trees for different projects. Like when
Oh.
you have agents and you're working on stuff in parallel, especially with multiple repos, I like vibed a little tool on the plane to San Francisco,
Oh, cool.
and it's
Yeah,
been
let's do that.
growing.
Yeah, let's do that because that's actually my main Claude Code kind of thing is I want the kind of the primary reason I'm into it is because I have a workflow that uses a couple of tools, one of which is called Uzi, and then the other one is like another one. And the idea is, okay, let's use like work trees and tmux and screen.
All right, yeah. So I also have a kitty control project going. So I think that's perfect
Yeah.
because it's an understandable project and it's small features which we can vibe. So let me show you what I have. And I also have like a list of features that I wanted to add ready. So I do have a ton of, when I work on my open source, I have like a ton of little repos, right? So most of these are little repos. And when I work in AMP code, often I do need to have to reference files or like the source code of one of my dependencies. And if I start changing things and I use the same dependency, you guys are hearing me? Is that,
Yes.
do I need to
Yes,
share my screen
sounds
or
good
something?
and reads good. Thank you.
Can the screen that I can see on your camera is like pretty blurry. Are you able to increase the
All right,
quality?
yeah, I'll share. I was trying to play with the virtual camera, but
Well,
let me.
one of us might need to because I don't know if Zoom will let two people share at the same time.
No, you can't share two at the same time.
Okay.
So
Are
should
you,
are
I was
other
gonna
people
you
able to read the virtual camera?
in theory I should be able to, but I don't do you know how to give it permissions on Mac OS to be able to do that?
No, I don't.
Okay. Yeah, so
Uh,
that's my holdup is well, let me see if I can here. If I stop sharing this and then maybe I restart OBS,
yeah, I think if you pin me, you can see, I can at least see both side by side pretty well.
well, yeah, so if you do the virtual camera, the problem is, yeah, your virtual camera is like blurry for me.
How is it for other people?
Yeah.
If people are still hanging around.
Right now it's a little blurry.
Yeah, I
Like
can see that. Your screen, yeah, it's pixelated.
it's pixelated because for me, obviously, it kind of looks clean.
Your
I guess they don't
IDE is
have like
clean. Interestingly, your IDE was clean, but your
my terminal isn't.
correct.
Like,
IDE
is
took
this
a bit.
clean?
No, not
Not at all.
earlier it was, yeah. Weird.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wonder
it's
if
like the
it's
resolution that you're streaming is very low.
If you
yeah, it could be also that my internet is shit just because I moved around or something. There's
also
something in the wall that's not good. Let me
if you
see.
go to your video settings in Zoom, there is under the camera section, there's an HD box you can check. Maybe that might help.
Under my camera settings.
Yeah, under video. Like
Oh
right.
yeah,
Yeah. So if you
is
check
that better?
let's see. Unfortunately,
I clicked
no.
the HD box.
Yeah, it still looks like crap to me.
I mean, I can share my screen if you want.
I still can't see your screen, but it's very low resolution. So it didn't change anything.
Yeah, that is weird. Let me
Oh shit, did that actually work? Let's see. Let me double check my. Oh god. Okay, so that's on the wrong one though. So if I do output selection, should be what, Chrome? If I do that. Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay. How is mine? Can you read mine?
nah, it's blurry for me.
Blurry?
Yeah, it's blurry too.
Shit. Okay.
There was a point in the call where Manuel and you were sharing at the same time, and your screen was good, but his wasn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you were doing screen sharing, right? So like sharing a screen as a camera doesn't really work all that well.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. Let me see. I wonder if I can, if I do like, maybe I can change my OBS preferences here and I can go video. Oh, I'll have to stop it if I go
Because
there.
now mine should be sharp, right? Because I'm sharing my screen.
I still see it pixelated, but maybe just me.
Do you see my screen share? Man, Zoom is like such a weird UI. How do I change my camera now?
Okay,
can't,
I can see it well now. Yeah, it works.
but I can't change my camera without stopping to share because I don't see the settings anymore. Jesus
Yeah, it
Christ.
sucks a bit.
Okay, actually, so if I double click my thing, if you double click my camera and you try to get it to full screen, does it look better now? Because it looks better to me, although it's mirrored, so I need to unmirror it. But
No, it's still pixelated too.
really,
Manuel is good now, but you're still in.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out something because I'm sure we can do something using like a relay site to have both side by side and then just share that one.
Yeah, probably. Well, yeah, I guess why don't well, yeah, so what we could do is I guess for now, like we can just work with the blurry one, and then when you do something interesting, you can jump on and share, and then when I do something interesting, I can jump on and share.
All right, well, I can start right away with something interesting if you want.
For sure, yeah. Why don't you go? Because I don't have a firm plan here. I need to set up my shit anyway.
I can show you the tool, which I think is going to be interesting with all the people working on with agents on many branches. So the tool I have is, as I was saying, I have like a ton of little repos. Often I want to work on like 3 at once because I know I might need to change something or I might need to.
Real quick, can you switch off of your virtual camera and onto screen share? If you haven't yet.
I should be sharing my screen. Am I not?
Um, I I was just seeing your virtual camera, I'm pretty sure.
So I turned off the virtual camera
Okay.
and I think I'm sharing my screen, right?
Can you try reshare? Oh wait, maybe. Oh, okay. No, we're good. We're good. I got it. This is just me being silly.
And then, yeah, this is my camera. So I built this tool called Workspace Manager, which allows me to quickly create a new workspace. Like say, I'm going to be working actually on the Workspace Manager. So I'm going to be, for example, I want to add a, add a script to run after creating workspace. So I'll create like a branch name. I will select the repos that I need, which is going to be GoGo Labs and maybe GoGo, or maybe Glaze is one that I often use. I don't think I need other ones in here. So I'll select some repos that I want to have, and then I just create it, and it's going to create 2 work trees. It's going to create 2 work trees in a separate directory, right? Like the add script to run after creating workspace has been created in workspaces, blah, 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 blah. I can go to this directory, and here I have the 2 checked out work trees. Also, it creates a Go work file. And here I have, right, like I have a separate branch for this task. So that allows me to have a bunch of parallel features, and you can see all of these features here. There's multiple repos checked out every time, often the same, right? Like the glazed and GoGo Labs is something that's pretty common. Here I'm building like a kitty control thing. Here I'm adding a script to run after the workspaces. And it has a ton of features. So I can ask for the status of the workspace I'm in, or like any kind of workspace. It will tell me if there's changes that still have to be committed. It will tell me if the branch is like merged. It will tell me if it has been synced with the remote. I can create pull requests. I can push. I can rebase. I can do all kinds of things. which were all kind of like created by AMCode. I didn't really ask for them. So I was like, okay, that's cool. And so one of the features I want to add is basically after I check out my workspace, I kind of want to have templates for different types of projects, right? Like sometimes I'll need a Go work and an agent MD, as well as running some kind of script after it's all done. And the way I'll probably just do it is I'll, for example, I do need to run Go work use after checking out these different repos, which is Go's work of doing like multi repo projects. And the way I would do that is I also need to copy a agent MD, which makes sense. So this is currently my latest one. And so when I start AMP, it doesn't know anything right now, right? But the way I've been starting to prompt stuff lately is add templates for workspaces, including a script to run after creating the template, for example, to run Go work use on the checked out repos. To, and then I'll just literally just link the manager. So that's my style of prompting these days. I'm just like type in what I want as a feature, and then I go drink a coffee. So any questions about how I use AMP code? That's it.
Not too shabby. Let's see.
I do have a question about the code workflow. So you use it purely on the terminal, not Cursor somewhere else?
So I used it in Cursor at the beginning, but it has like a race condition on my computer. I'm wondering why not more people have it, where it would get desynchronized with the file system. So it would like always overwrite its own files and like lose code. And that's like a good way to just completely explode an agent, right? Because it like tries to write files and it's just like, oh, it looks like I didn't write this file. Let me try again. And then it just like completely destroys the repo because it really doesn't know what's going on. So I vibe coded a whole tool to inspect that and find the race condition, which was really fun, but they haven't fixed it yet, I think. And I mean, with the amount of the fact that I do almost like zero interaction with this while it's running, right? Like usually my AMP code threads are like 3 messages deep, and then I have my feature and I just move on. And this is like this style of prompting is something like, it sounds kind of ridiculous, but it took me a long time to get there. And I think it's only with agents that are as good as AMP code that it really starts to make sense, where I just fully focus on the features that I want. So for example, when I said, oh, I want something to manage my Git repos as workspaces, it added all these like Git push and Git status and Git blah, 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 which I would never have really thought of by myself. So I think, you know, based on experience a little bit, that if I ask it to do templates with a script, which are the only keywords I kind of gave it to go on, that it would create something that's pretty decent, because it's not rocket science, right? The one problem with this is that basically it's like Googling for the program you want to use on the internet, right? In the best of cases, it's like, oh, I want to have this. And then you search on GitHub and you're like, oh, this looks great. But then you have to learn it. So I have a bunch of tools that I vibe coded at the same time as the workspace manager. I have like one that's called Playbook Manager, which looks great because it has all the features that I wanted. I even forgot which features I wanted. So now I have this program, like I have no idea how this works. And that's kind of an interesting problem to have, right? It's like, I can create all the software that I want, but software is not all that easy. So there's only so much software it can absorb in one go. But yeah, this is AMP code. And then it like, right, like it was able to compile all of this. I don't really know what it all did. So at the end of the session, I'll just ask it to write me a tutorial about the feature. And then you can see AMP code is pretty good at saving context size. So we're still at 24% total context size after this, while in Cursor, I probably would have had to retry to restart like 3 times by now. Does that make sense? That's I mean, we'll have to see what this does. So if I look at my workspace, and yeah, you showed me Carapace, and I'm gonna add Carapace to have dynamic completion on my workspaces. One prompt that I added is like it creates a git commit message for me, right? So now I'm in GoGo Labs, and I can move this git commit message here and then just commit based on whatever it created. So that's something that I want to add to the workspace manager as well. And going back to the tool itself, you can see now that I have the status, it will tell me, oh, look, you have like 3 modified files. And actually, I think I also have like non-checked in files. So that would be a good thing as well. In the status verb, does that also show non-committed files? Like that's a feature. As I'm using the thing, I can just like start adding things. So actually, I have to be fast to commit before it's over. With AmpCode, you have to git commit pretty often. Like it doesn't have a nice revert such as Cursor. I think they're improving the UI in Cursor, but since I stopped using it. One thing that's nice also just to show you is that you do have these conversations are synchronized on their AmpCode site, so you can share them with your team, right? So this is the thing we're just doing right now. And you can easily share it with people, which is pretty nice to show like how I prompt, I guess. And I think they added the fact that you can see the cost now, which for a long time they were like, we were not allowing you to see the cost, like just figure it out. But here you can actually, well, maybe it's broken. And what you can do on the command line as well is you can look at all the threads you have and then resume them or fork them and do all kinds of things with them. Right, like I could fork that. Any other questions?
Interesting.
Yeah, or things you might want to see. Like, I really like it. I don't know how good Cloud Code is, but this thing is like it's kind of great. Like it
Yeah, I
has
was
built
just
this template thing.
I was just curious because with Cloud Code it works the same way, at least with Opus. It just works on stuff for 30 minutes on its own, and then you come back and it finishes it. And you can also tell it to create a PR or check the commit, etc., etc. But it seems to be really similar. I'm gonna have to test it out and compare.
Yeah, I think they're from what I've heard, Cloud Code is also really good. I've heard it be like a little bit more expensive. I have no idea. But yeah, I've heard really good things. Like for me, it works. So I'm like, why should I change right now? I really like the sharing of threads.
It's also using
But
Sonnet 4, right? Like they always use the same model. They don't allow you to change it.
yeah, and I think they use multiple models at this point. So they're starting to experiment with sub agents, right? So in the cursor view, you can see a little bit more about which MCPs and tools are enabled. Their command line is like weirdly lacking, which is weird because it's so easy to add command line stuff these days, like terminal UI. But yeah, this is I mean, let's go see write a tutorial about the template functionality in the workspace manager repo directory under docs. Let's just see if that actually works, what we just created. Right now it has like the template command in here. And then it has template list. It actually created some, what the heck? Where does it even put them? Create. See, this is the thing that's funny, is like I kind of know that it does all the stuff that I want, but I have to learn it at this point. Yeah, yikes. I don't know if you have something to show. Like I don't know if there's like much more to show
I'm
about AMP code.
I'm playing with my settings a little bit, but yeah, I was so where the direction or yeah, so I'm a Claude Code person. I also am playing with AMP code. And I'm also playing with all of the other toys. But one of the things that maybe is interesting, and I'm curious as to how. Okay, connect to this. Can this please? Okay, open cursor. Just want to let me actually do it, please. Oh God. Okay, is this gonna, what is this doing? Is this opening a second cursor? Okay, it's not. I'm not sure why it won't connect to GitHub, because of course it's not going to. I have a really weird thing with cursor where if I don't open it from the command line, none of my MCPs work. But when I do open it from the command line, if I try to authenticate with any extensions, those don't work. So I have to pick one, which is very annoying. Let's see. I'm going to try to connect it one more time, please. Please just let this work. It would be really cool if you did that. Okay, I guess not. Whatever, it's fine. Let's see. Let's get rid of all these. I think we're gonna get rid of that.
Do you want to share? Take over the sharing?
Yeah, sure. Let me see.
So Ignacio, in your free project, what you're doing is like you're running multiple Claude codes at the same time, right? Like, and you're also managing the project work tree, but you're running these agents with the Claude Code SDK, right? Like that's.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a TOML file that you can configure to use your own. You can use it with AMP or whatever. But yeah, it's just a way to automate the creation of the work trees, and because I use for my work I use Rails, and I need to set up the credentials, the bundle install stuff, everything. So it does it automatically because I can specify the commands to run when creating the work tree.
That's the feature I just like kind of added, right? To be able to run a post work tree script.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really convenient, and it's just a way to have them listed on the Tmux terminal too.
But so your fleet fork and your fleet kill and all of that, that's actually running agents, right? That are running in Tmux?
Yeah, so it starts all of these little agents with different branches and work trees.
Manuel,
Cool.
Yeah,
and you have them run in Tmux, right?
Yes. Yeah, you
Okay.
can just attach to it and
yeah. Yeah, because I started building with Kitty, and then I was like, I can't actually like attach all that easily with Kitty, which is my terminal that I want to learn more as well. So
yeah,
I'm going to do a
because
Tmux version.
Kit is way nicer for that, I think, because it allows you to programmatically add the tabs and the panes, right? Instead of using Tmux, and you can simply use your commands.
I think Tmux allows you to do that as well. Let me share that if you're it might save you a deep research actually. So
yeah,
what I
because
often do
with
with
Tmux, you can do that, but I really don't like the scrolling on Tmux and all of these little quirks that you need to be aware of when running a session inside of Tmux. But with Git, it's just like a normal terminal, right? Like if you're using
Yeah.
iTerm or
Oh, you mean you don't like using tmux as such, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, because I don't think you can like move something from one kitty to the other, right? Like the nice thing about tmux is that I could SSH in with my phone and do stuff. But let me, because I did write a full book about tmux and its scriptability. I want to build a multi-agent CLI on top of tmux. I can share that with you if you want.
I actually I can show you one if you a multi-agent
Yeah.
CLI.
Yeah, well, nice.
Let's see. Let me, yeah, if you want to stop sharing and then I can share, I believe. And then if I go up there and then I share that. Okay.
Ignacio, what's your Discord name?
Iggy, I'm
Gotcha.
one of the last messages on the group.
Why is this? Okay, this is just being really weird.
I also like had a whole server plus dashboard plus mobile phone app, which looked actually pretty nice, but that might be something fun to maybe salvage.
Yeah, and also there's one interesting tool I saw the other day that they have this TUI, like the interface is it's quite nice. It's called Cloud Squad.
Yeah,
it's a really
that was
clean implementation.
Cloud SWAT or Squad? Squad,
The
right?
Squad. Yeah.
that was the one I was gonna, or that was one of the ones that, so I use, or the workflow that I'm currently sort of trying to dial in. Let me try and remember where I put it. Is using Git Butler, Claude Squad, Uzi, which is the Tmux multi-boxer one, and a couple of context managers. So number one is Task Master, and then the other one is one that my friend is working on called Erasmus. And the idea being, between all of those, what I should have is I can just hand PRDs off to whomsoever might be inclined to use them, and then that is essentially all I'll need to do, and then they should be able to self-drive all the way up from there.
So this is like is it open source?
All of these are open source, yes.
Oh, that's nice.
So okay, so I'm screen sharing over there, yeah? You guys can see that little thing?
Yeah, I can see it report.
Okay, so this is like a little GUI that I was making for it. As you can see, we have Taskmaster, Git Butler, Erasmus, Linear Screen Pipe. That's like the stack. And then the idea with this was to use open code and a non-code and Jules and Codex and Claude Code, and be able to sort of organize all of those and then kind of have like a voice interface, and then good visibility on like if any of them are running into problems, et cetera, was kind of the idea behind that one. The thing that I think will be relevant for you guys, let's see if I can clear this, and then if I can move this up here, is clear Uzi dash help. Okay, so I can go Uzi agents. Okay, so we have, oh my god, this. Okay, let's see, where to have the chat bot. Okay, so that was from an old prompt. So as you can see, Uzi agents Claude 1 and Claude 2. And we're gonna say, where are we at? We're agent synchronizer. Let's see. So I need a Claude MD here. So I do need to figure out how to do this more granularly, but let's say, can you create a README each folder of the file of the project that describes the logic of each folder and what other parts of the code it touches, etc., with the goal of having a solid map of how each directory interfaces with any of the others. Okay, so we're gonna do Uzi. Wait, flag provided but not defined. Oh, did they update it? I wonder. Uzi flag provided but not defined. We specified. Let's see, but yeah, how that used to work. Flag provided but not defined. Wonder if we just do A. Maybe that'll work. A, maybe? Okay, what if we just do prompt? I wonder if it'll. That's the problem with having a tool chain this long, is that when one gets an update, error loading config. Oh yeah, we're supposed to do uzi.yaml. So I need to touch uzi.yaml, and then we need to dev import. But yeah, so what this would do is deploy like Claude 1, Claude 2. It would deploy 2 Claudes, and then I can watch what they're doing, like by listing the number of active sessions. If I need to add another Claude, I can just give it a different prompt. And then I can like checkpoint, where I can rebase the agent work trees into the current work tree and then commit. So like once everybody's done, then I can checkpoint it. I can do auto, where it'll just auto accept everything. I can broadcast, where it'll send the same message to everybody that's like, hey, wait, stop, do whatever, and then kill. I can kill a TMUX session or reset, which is, I believe this is kind of their context manager, is basically the general idea. I have to like double check how I'm supposed to use this again. Let's see if I can go github.com. Uzi. Let's go here. I check the readme.
Yeah, the checkpoint is pretty nice. I need to steal that too.
Yeah. It is very good. Okay, so if I just copy paste this in, what's the package JSON, and then what's the dev script? Let me just grab this real quick. Yank. And then B. Okay, and then if I do that, that should do that. And then what if we do this again? Okay, cool. And then I do Uzi ls. And then I have I have Matthew and Amelia here that should be, that are both ready. And then if I do Uzi auto.
And Uzi is your tool? Yikes.
Uzi is not my tool. It's one of the tools that I've found.
Gotcha.
Auto pressing enter for prompt, blah, blah, blah. And then I should be able to, let me do a control P N. And then we're gonna have to do new. I have to bash my shell is a mess. And we're gonna do Uzi ls. I think it's W. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
it's using charm bracelet as well. It's
Yeah.
funny, they all use that.
Okay, so let's see. We don't have any diffs. Yeah, I think it's because I don't know. I'm still like playing with it. There's another one. So Uzi's the one that I started with, which is like this guy, and then there's another one. So tmux, get work trees, monitoring, all that stuff. We have auto, I can watch, can broadcast to merge it back up. And then there's another one that I found. Basically, I've mostly been like collecting these. If I can go back and I can do my stars. But yeah, it says it's running, but I feel like it's not running. Maybe I need to like Claude init first actually over here. Claude. Make sure it's working. Okay, update. I thought there was like a /update doctor. real quick. Okay, just I'll log Claude locally. Okay, let's do migrate installer real quick. And then, okay, let's go find the thing, which is this guy. Calm Hive is the other one, which I haven't played with this one yet. Add an alias for Claude. Okay, well, it sounds risky. Okay, just restart my shell and then run Claude. New bash Claude. Come on, baby. Okay, let's init that. 401 OAuth authentication is not supported. What do you mean? Doctor? Okay, well that's why that's not working. I'll have to fiddle with that later. I don't want to like subject you guys to messing with it. But
Yeah, we're coming towards the end anyway.
So Calm Hive CLI is basically another of the same, where okay, lots and lots of safety message, lots and lots of that. Okay, so then you clone the repo, you add your path. We have Calm Hive chat, we have voice, MCP, AFK, chat, run, AFK, voice, update, 2E. I thought this one would do multiple quads. Okay, yeah, use different models. There we go. Custom AFK.
Yeah, I think it'd be really interesting to sit together and kind of like exchange all the different multi-agent workflows, because I think everybody's kind of trying to figure out what it means to have multiple agents collaborate on
Yeah.
projects.
I don't know if that was generally the impression I got from the AI Engineer World's Fair, is like most of the things that I went to that were like software engineering agents, all of them are kind of moving in that direction of like, okay, like we figured out how to run one, let's figure out how we can multi-box this. It's like, and I feel like there was at least 3 or 4 sessions that was like, hey, this is how we're doing it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm curious because when I do it, as said, I can't like manage 2 or 3 features being built at once, maybe, and then that's it. Which is okay. Well, how do
So
agents fit into that, right? It's like I don't have so much stuff that can be parallelized.
Well, I think so. I think your interface in this case, once they get good enough, your interface is not your IDE anymore. It's your project management tool. It's like Jira or Linear or something. And the way that you do it is you just build your cycle and you start deploying them onto the cycle. And then,
Yeah, that's maybe the next thing. And I don't see many people targeting that, is like integrating a Jira board or like a Linear board or a GitHub project board as part of the tool itself, right? And it's actually one of the workspaces I have open. And the one project, when I was on the plane, I was like, my brain can't take this, is
I actually
using GitHub projects.
I use MCP for that, and so Linear has their own agents API now as well. So you can build your agent to their spec and be able to plug it in. But so far I haven't really like put my
Oh, interesting.
I haven't put my workflow through the paces with it yet. But both that and then the other thing is a lot of them have Slack integrations now. So I will I'll run my agent team the same way I would run my normal software engineering team, like from a PM perspective rather than an engineer perspective.
So who did you say has Slack integration?
So there's a Slack MCP. Actually,
oh, gotcha. As an MCP, right?
Yeah, Cursor has a default Slack integration as well. But also, yeah, all of my main tools, so like Highlight is a workhorse for me. And that also has a Slack integration. I think it's via MCP. But yeah, a lot of the like native IDEs are getting Slack integrations as well. But like really, it's just any way that it can get a hold of me, basically, because
Cursor
ideally,
just launched it, right?
yeah, I think so. I just saw it like 2 seconds ago, while I was trying to get my
Man, this is all moving too fast. I hate it.
Yeah,
yeah.
we should
Well,
just
I'm
figure out the best way to do this.
Well, yeah, so I am trying to jump the shark again. I'm like, okay, somebody else is now going to figure out multi agents. So what's the next thing after that that we're going to need? I think the next thing that we need after that, which I finally understand why my friend has been going this direction the whole time, because he was on the GitHub projects like last year, I think. And the place he has gone is uh, like mathematically verifiable correct code. He's going like, can I convert this code down to
Okay.
like lean or COQ, and then can I prove that the code is like functional and doing the thing that I want it to do? And I think the reason he's doing that is so that you don't even have to do tickets, or like you can do much broader tickets, and you can say, hey, like you're not done until I can mathematically prove that you are done, and you can just run that proof. So if until you have like sufficiently
Uh,
verified that the code is going to behave in that way, you're going to keep working, and as soon as you're done, you're going to let me know. And then that way you effectively, rather than write code, you just write math, and then you run it out that way. Because I think the thing that is missing here is right now, if you try to manage this with your like meet human eyeballs, you're going to be all over the place. So you need to have the agents also managing themselves, which they will need some way to do that. And I think a good way to do that is verifiable code, I think.
Yeah, that sounds like a good rabbit hole.
I'm like,
I
okay,
have something
all the
for,
agenting,
for
Yeah.
for the verifiability. I mean, for agents, it's really cool to have like a tool that's easy to call that tells you like yes or no and why the tool should be changing. For the terminal UIs that I'm building, I added like a text screenshot feature to VHS, which is a charm bracelet tool that allows you to script, enter this key, wait 2 seconds, enter this key, wait 2 seconds. And that has been really useful for testing my terminal UIs, where basically it also records GIFs after that, which is nice to review.
Yeah.
But you can have it navigate menus and like do actions and then take a screenshot, and that allows it to be like, it looks like I'm in the wrong, like looks like the down key doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's really, really useful
No,
to
that
do.
sounds very good. Especially if you're, that sounds like a very good tool if you're doing 2E stuff, and then obviously you would the kind of the analog to that is for front end stuff, which seems to be mostly solved. It's give them like Puppeteer or something, and then from
Yeah, it's
there,
Playwright and Puppeteer, right?
yeah. And so I think kind of what you need is I think you need engineering agents, and then you are also going to need like overseer agents that are like running through your whole application with something like Katana, and then like proving the whole thing back down, and then continually like poking it with Playwright and stuff. It's kind of what I'm seeing.
In Yasser, what kind of prompting do you do for your multi-agent stuff now? Like what's your contribution to the whole thing?
You mean when it depends, because if you want to, for example, explore the same solution but from different points of view, you just launch it with the same prompt and then compare. And that's one of the recommendations that I saw Anthropic do when working with Cloud Code. Just treat it like a casino play or machine like randomness generator. And then the other one is depending on the tasks at hand, it's just creating the feature or the debugging prompt and then just launching it. For example, if you have access to linear and linear has the box in it, you can just specify the link to the issue and then just launch one, and then the other one is going to be working on another feature, and then another one maybe exploring why something is not performant enough. but it's just trying to delegate the work, just like if you were managing a team, right? Like a tech lead or something like that. So it's just really interesting, but it's definitely not scalable because of the context switch. Like I find that maybe having 5 at the same time working on the same feature, and then other 3 or 4, so maybe 10 at the same time is what I can handle. And then it gets tricky because even though you are working on work trees, if you are creating new tests or things that will sort of like mix between each other on the files, then you're going to have to create one cloud or AMP or just an agent, right? That's going to be merging the conflicts and fixing them. So I also have one like manager of conflicts that handles all of these fixing whenever that happens. I think that's the trickiest part so far. So I don't know, maybe Git is not going to be scalable when we have millions of these things working at the same time.
Yeah, I think so. That's kind of why I want to put Git Butler
Also,
at the end of the.
also we're at time, but Kevin's not there, so we can go over.
Okay, sure. This is why I wanted to integrate Git Butler. Let me like just show what that is, because I talk about it all the time, but I never show anybody. Except my mouse just died. So let me switch this off over here, and hopefully that's not going to screw everything up, but it might. Am I still screen sharing? Can you see me? Yes, no,
Yes,
maybe.
I think I can see.
Yeah, you're still
screen.
sharing.
Okay. Give me just okay, cool. Let me grab. Oh God, what is happening here? Let me get rid of. Oh shit. Okay, I need to stop share, and then I need to figure out. I have to go to my system settings here, and then I have to do displays, and then I need to do built-in, which is this is gonna be my main stop mirroring. And then this is gonna be my built-in is gonna be my main display. And then that is gonna be my extended one. And then hopefully, I can, okay, so now we have to arrange, and we're gonna do this. It's gonna go, we're gonna do that, is how we're gonna do it. Okay, and then that, and then we can go share, and then we can go desktop to share. Okay, and can see me again, yes? Yes, no, maybe so.
I can see it. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here is Git Butler. What is nice. So these are all of the changes that I've made, et cetera, et cetera. I can just create a new little branch here. I can have it either depend or not depend on a branch. I'll just create it real quick. And then I can like move my commits over into, let's see, let's do another branch. Let's do T branch 2. And I should be able to just move that. Yeah, so I can move these guys over into this branch. So what this is doing is tracking all of the local changes, and then I can just drag and drop it across branches to figure out what I want into the commit. And then the way that Git Butler works is once I have pushed that branch, then the branch will, or like I can't modify the origin. Like I have to PR into main. It forces me to PR. I can't just commit and push. And the reason that is good is because when I put a PR into main, I also trigger like 2 or 3 agents to code review that PR. So if if my multi-agent like I get to manually review it by quickly dragging and dropping, and then like if I want to just lose a branch, I can just like really quickly get rid of one in some fashion or another. Let's see if I can get rid of this here. Yeah, so this has just got 0 changed files in it, and so does this one. And then let me see if there's a instance of, I'm trying to think of when the last time I did this was. But the general idea is that I can all of the locally changed files. Like I can see them here, I can drag them into different branches if I need to. Each of those branches is going to get pushed and then pushed to main as a PR, and then that's going to kick off Sorcery and Mentat to do code review on those PRs that are coming in to see if we missed anything. So there's enough checks, and there's like a total of 3 of them, one with my eyeballs and then the other with a couple more agents, that will hopefully result in like things not getting missed on the way in, kind of thing. So I think the answer there might be just like PR to your own repos kind of thing.
Cool. I'm gonna have to bounce though. I think this would be a great conversation to continue having as we're exploring this, because I'm having a hard
Absolutely.
time figuring out how to have more use of compute for what I'm doing, which might be just because the stuff I'm building is like amenable to just linear progress because it works so well. I think it'd be really interesting to see what other people are doing, and then
And
the whole
I
merging
I
sounds
think
interesting.
I have a lot of ideas of how I want to use workflows, but I end up procrastinating on actually putting them through the paces because I run into some stupid config. Huh.
Yeah, we should maybe make propose this for a topic, right? One of the sessions, just full on workflow management for agents or something like that.
Yeah, or maybe in between where we just like brainstorm for a little bit, because there's this really interesting thing, right? Like for example, Cloud Code or M Code. I know that I'm able to basically one-shot some pretty significant things in 5 minutes, which means that
Yeah, I gotta
if it takes me 10 minutes to merge work that 2 agents have been doing,
recording here.
I could actually just run it twice,
God.
right? It's like I could just revert
Hold on,
everything
close
and then
now?
do
Okay,
it
so it's just
again
gonna
once I
crash
know what I
now.
want. So a lot of what I'm doing is building these prototypes and playing with them, and then discovering that I can actually prompt a certain thing, or just that I don't like something, and then I just recreate it from scratch. So it's I think wanting to merge a lot of the existing work is just like a loss of time a lot of the time, right? Where you can instead maybe have 5 agents build something in parallel, and then instead of merging them, you say like, okay, well, look at these 5 checkouts.
Yep.
Tell me how to merge them together, delete them all, and start again with where the merge is basically the new specification, because you know it's going to one-shot the specification.
So I think this is a very underexplored work, and I was the most recently when I was doing like I was working on a normal engineering team that's not AI native. They were like so like as an agent driven developer, like we know how to handle slop. Like there is we have contingencies for slop, and one of the ways that I do that is like often for me, because I use a couple of extensions where I'm going to save my entire conversation history. I'm going to save all the documentation. I like for me, getting to source code is very easy. So like I can just regenerate the entire code base from scratch because I have all of the history to do it. So if something went wrong like way back there and I didn't catch it, I'm just going to make a new code base. Like so
I think what's interesting here is also how do the agents keep track of what they struggled with? I think is maybe even more important than what they actually had success with, because if they struggle with something, right, and like just take a while to fix some type error or whatever, it just means that your original prompt or like whatever you gave it as context at the beginning was not enough for it to do it well. And then it probably wasted like, half the session on like fixing this thing and iterating, which, is great, but also it just takes time. So I met this one guy at the conference, Jesse, who was showing me how he had Claude Code always like keep an emotional diary about the code that it writes through an MCP.
Ooh,
and that works really well, right? Like I had this as a changelog for a long time, but actually having it write the things that it struggled with, how it felt about the code, was actually really interesting in like as something that you can, that's maybe even more important than the code that it created, right?
Yes.
To say, okay, this environment actually didn't really work for me because XYZ, instead of writing a changelog, which doesn't actually contain where the friction points were. So I think there's also a lot to be explored there where the code is not the result. It's actually more like an assessment of what needs to be improved.
This reminds me of the think tool. Did you guys read that? You guys remember the blog post I'm talking about? It's useful that if, you know, like I'm going to put, let's say like 3 or 4 Claude codes onto all kind of building the same feature. And if all of them are getting upset at a particular juncture, then obviously I'm going to need to know to look at that. But so I think the usefulness of the think tool is more so that it's basically any opportunity where to allow Claude to like take a breather, right? To like just divert it
Because
to doing something else.
the think tool is this like kind of knob tool, right? Where it says like, I'm going to call the think tool. And then it says like, yep, I thought about it. And then it continues.
Well, it does act, or I use a think tool, and I modeled the think tool off of the paper Algorithm of Thoughts. So
okay.
So the think tool that I use is Claude will select to think, and he will choose an algorithm. So he'll either go like DFS or he'll go Monte
So
Carlo.
what does the tool do? Does it actually do something, or is it just injecting some context?
Well, yeah. So here, let me see if I can grab it for
All right, I'm gonna print this out.
I have the tool. But yeah, it does do something. The thing that it does in my case is Claude will select an algorithm, and then it will, you know, it'll be adding context, but what it will do is it'll do some sort of sequential think or algorithmic thinking process about the problem that it is experiencing. So the input parameters for it are like, Claude, you need to choose an algorithm, and then Claude, you like, what are you going to think about? And then it'll run prompts of Claude thinking through that, and then it can review that algorithmic thought process. So it really,
Yeah, I think
it likes to do beam search a lot. Like it always picks that one, basically.
I think something that's interesting, I'm going to read that paper, is like agents at the end of the day are just a prompt engineering technique, right? Like they don't exist as individual entities in as much they run on the same computer, on the same code base, or in the same file system with the same memory. Like they're not independent things. They're just like, oh, in one case, they're going to have one context history, and in the other, they're going to have another context history. But there's no reason that if a certain agent, you know, if you think of it as an independent thread of building code, and it reaches a certain point, there's no reason that you can merge the entire previous history together and give that to all the new agents, right? Like thinking of it as a hive mind where you can actually, as agents reach a compile point, for example, you can say like, look, I built this and I built this, and suddenly there's only one thread that does inference until these things are merged at an intermediate point, right? Like there's a lot of patterns that we're, I think, going to be losing if we think of them as like, oh, I'm spawning a Claude code, I'm spawning another Claude code, and this is how we build multi-agents, instead of saying, you know, they all have like shared context and they can share it whenever they want amongst each others.
And that's the other thing that so I have two MCP tools that are always on, and one is the think tool, and the other one is memory ref. And memory ref is we're gonna build a knowledge graph of memories, and then all of the are gonna be able to refer back to that graph. And like if I'm in a session, if I'm doing a coding session, I create like a new memory.json that is the like today's memory essentially, and then all of the Claude codes are periodically going to call think, and in their system prompt it's, hey, after thinking, or like if you are running into a complex problem, then you should check you know, you should refer to memory ref. You should go check your memories to see if there's any irrelevant information there. You should evaluate if you need to use your thinking tool. And then if you do, and you're able to move forward and solve the problem, then you should update the memory graph. And then all of the clods should be working out of that same memory graph on the side is how I run that.
Yeah, you can do some really weird prompting about with this. This used to be like a little bit tricky to prompt. Do you see my Claude?
Yeah.
You can really like use tropes from science fiction of saying like, oh, you're a multi-brained hive
Yeah,
mind
yeah.
of coding neuronal entities, and you can do some really fucking weird shit, and this might actually work, right? It's like I was playing with this like 2 years ago with this kind of prompting, and it was like a little bit tricky. Like the code survivor stuff works better, but I think by now we can actually start doing this stuff again, right? Where using science fiction tropes to model how information is shared, or I don't know, science fiction tropes, whatever, right? It's like anything that you can formulate as a thought is something that the model will probably understand pretty well.
I think
To say what,
yeah, specifically here, it is specifically science fiction tropes that you want to use, or what it is a meme that exists in culture, because
yeah,
like if like these things are made out of crystallized culture, right? So if I say, you know, if I'm trying to describe this from a scientific, you know, perspective or just manually, that is going to be different. Like it's going to be selecting different tokens in the latent space than it would be selecting from science fiction tropes. So if what I'm trying to do is build like a thing that I think personally is like total sci-fi shit, I should prompt it with sci-fi, so that it will sort of like passively integrate the picture of the thing that I want, because the that's how that's how its brain works. It only represents with words. So you have to like your words are very important, I think, here.
I think there's a lot to be explored there, right? Because like the code survivor stuff, which for people who didn't know is like doing code review, but as a reality TV show.
Cool.
The way I explain it, actually, maybe I have the diagrams here as well, because it's actually, if you think about the structure of what a code review looks like, of like what a good code review looks like, right? It's like a lot of concrete examples about the code that are put into relation with each other. I don't know if you can see this, but if you were to plot the linguistic structure of a good code review, sorry, this is this one. If you imagine that you look at the text of a code review, right? The little boxes are basically code snippets. And then there's a lot of arguments and like questioning and like remarks about all of this and saying like, does this variable relate to this? I don't think it's a good thing, exclamation point. And if you ask a model to do a code review, usually you have more something like this that comes out, where it says like, I think this variable is not named correctly. By the way, you should name your variables well and like use security, which is like a useless code review. And if you think about this like argument structure where things are like related to each other, that's exactly what happens on reality TV shows, where they just like keep arguing about each other and saying like, yeah, but Janice said this, and like, you know, Mark was like messing with XYZ. And so if you make a reality TV show, except the participants are actually variable names and like functions in your code and like design patterns and all of that, suddenly, you know, like the database starts arguing with like the HTML template and saying like, you suck, you're calling me over and over, and I don't like that. And like you do all these weird things. And at the end, when you ask for a code review, you get this like really dense,
Do you have a good example
really to the point. Sorry?
Do you have a good example of that? Like I want to look at what's happening.
Let me see. Write some problematic JavaScript code, no comments, coming out from the basement.
Or like, do you actually, is this like a theoretical thing, or do you actually use this day to day?
I used to use it when models were really shitty. Now, these days, I don't even code review code, so I have less of a use for it. But it might actually be something that I need to revive, because it's just like a really effective prompt. And now that we have better tooling, so let's imagine I have this shitty code, right? It's like let's do something fun. Let's play Code Survivor, the Survivor reality TV show, except the participants are variables, functions, design patterns, programming concepts, infrastructure pieces from my code base. They argue and bicker all the time for 3 rounds. At the end of each round, the worst candidate gets voted out. So one of the reasons that this was really useful is that I want to do all of this and I want to max out each inference, right? I want to type a couple of words and then basically get 8,000 tokens out that are all meaningful. And this is a really good way to do that, because you can say like, oh, make 8 rounds. And then it will just saturate your output because it will do 8 rounds. And so here I'm just going to paste the code. It's really funny to read. I actually don't read it. Dude, don't do a fucking web app.
You're on Sonnet. It's always going to make you a web app.
Man, I'd put a
need Opus.
transcript
Yeah.
as markdown.
Just have Opus do it. Not
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, so it looks like this, which is pretty funny, right? Like you have your function names and it's going to be like, I handle the money, baby. And then they do this like weird kind of little stuff. But what's interesting here is like whatever they say, it's like it has some kind of meaning about the code, right? But also it bypasses the agreeableness of the reinforcement learning.
Sure. Yeah.
Because now they're just going to be aggressive with each other. And the reality TV show is drama, right? Like I want drama in my code review. I don't want like boring stuff. So they just yap and yap and yap and yap, which is pretty fun. I also had them like play Clue, where you're like, oh, there's a security issue amongst you.
Yeah.
Find it.
No, that's fun. It's so
now as a sober professional code review, right? So now I filled the context window with like interesting tokens. So in a way, it's like a way of doing just like a great chain of thought, because now your code review is just like fully on point. Like there's not going to be any slop in there.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think that's a very I don't know, the thinking in memes thing is definitely kind of I think it's an unlock to some degree.
Yeah. All right, I gotta run. I'm already too late.
Same.
But yeah, I think we should really zoom in on this. I think we have a group of people that have a lot of interesting ideas.
For sure. Well, till then, I'll catch you guys later.